Aries, thanks for joining me. My name is Gregory Scott. It's really nice to be with you today. This is your astrology forecast for October 2015. So I hope you've had a good September. I hope you've had a really good 2015 so far. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's coming up for you this month and what you can expect and what you'll be working with. So before I look at October, I need to go back to the 30th of September because two things occur that are going to influence you through October. And the first one of those is that Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, starts to, I know it sounds ominous, right? It starts to square the Sun. And they have a relationship through until the 12th of October. So the first half of October, really, you're going to be influenced by this. Now, the Sun is your identity. It's how you express yourself, who you are. And Pluto is death and rebirth, okay? So that is happening in your 10th house of career, and it's in the work sign of Capricorn as well. So you can expect some friction, some energy between the way you are in your relationships and the good relationships that you have. And there's going to be a feeling and a changeability to those. So expect some changes in your colleagues or in the team that you work in or the people that you see on a day-to-day basis. And also expect some potential changes in your working life, a rebirth of some kind and an end to other things. So if you're looking at this from a positive angle, it means that certain things in your job that you don't like, you can kind of shift out, and the things that you do like, you can kind of focus on and experience a rebirth in those areas, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. So that's the first thing, and that's until the 12th of October. And the second thing is a really, really long-term influence. And on the 30th of September, Pluto also starts to square Uranus, and that square stays in place until until the 13th of May 2016. So that's ages. That's September, October, November, December, plus 5 months. It's 9 months, okay? So this is huge. Like I said, Pluto is quite a dark kind of energy. In mythology, it ruled the underworld. And Uranus is similarly big, okay? Uranus is often seen as kind of the rebel, old father time, sometimes even. I think there's one picture by Goya where Uranus rips the head off one of his children and eats it or something like that. It's pretty hardcore. So both of these guys, think of them as really two old men kind of butting heads for the next 9 months. So Pluto sits in your 10th house saying, what are we going to change about your career? And Uranus, the rebel, this really kind of uncontrollable force, it sits in your first house of self in Aries. And when they butt heads, it's like, what do I want to do? I'm part of this company, I'm getting paid, they're telling me what to do, but really I could give two hoots about what they're telling me because I want to be self-employed. I've got my own ideas about how I'm going to do this. I could do this much better than these people who sell at this company. And there's going to be a tendency to rebel and to kind of throw out the structure that you've got in your life. Now, I don't need to tell you that can go both ways, okay? If you go to your boss and say, excuse me, the way you're running this company is a joke and I could do much better, he may not react in a very positive way. On the other hand, if you decide, okay, I've done this job, I've enjoyed the security of it, but I've gained certain experience and I am going to go out by myself on my own and do my own business, run my own company, make my own job, then that energy is actually going to be helpful and useful to you because you can channel that into setting up your own business. It does take a lot of energy, so make use of that if that's something you've considered. Now, on the 1st of October, the next day here, the month starts very, very earthy. A lot of planets are in Earth, namely Mars, Jupiter, and your midheaven, which isn't really a planet, it's an angle, and then also your luminary. The moon is in Taurus, so all of those are earth signs, okay? They all have to do with earth. And earth is about taking practical action. Mars is the planet of desire and the warrior, Jupiter is good luck, and the midheaven has to do with work. All of those things are kind of churning around, think of them bubbling away in a cauldron there, in your 6th house of work. So the ideas that shift that occurs on the 30th and that stays in place, that rebellion, that energy, immediately gets channeled into very practical energies. And you're going to think, hey, what can I actually do what practical action can I take to make my working life better? And, you know, October, bang, the month starts with a real kind of huge, powerful kind of force here, and you hit the ground running. It's like, right, what am I going to change? So don't expect to be particularly chilled or laid back at the beginning of October. You're going to have really clear ideas of what you want to get done. And not only that, but Uranus is in that Aries in your first house. That's your sign. Okay, so you're really going to feel that rebellion. No one else is going to feel that as strongly as you, Aries. Now, on the 3rd of October, Chiron starts to square the moon. And Chiron is the part of the chart that can often be quite painful, and that can represent a wound that needs to be healed and transformed. And the moon is what makes you feel nurtured, okay? There's a real opening in terms of your spirituality. There's a real opening in terms of the way you see yourself. And by looking at that and focusing on it, you can heal it. Now, this is something that's often done extensively in 12-step programs. People have to do a personal inventory of their own behaviors. They look at those, they share them with another person in order to heal them. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about here. Look at what's going on with you spiritually. What beliefs do you have that don't serve you, that are painful to you? Have a spring clean and share them with someone else. So for instance, I feel ashamed of my sexuality, as an example, okay? Why do I feel ashamed of it? Am I holding myself to some standard that I was brought up with? Do I still share that belief? Do I want to keep it? Does it serve me? Does it not serve me? Make a decision, have a look around it, and then share that with another person. Very, very simple, but that's the kind of thing you can do to really free yourself of things that limit you and that drag you down. On the 4th of October, so I mean, you know, just the first week, you've already have a lot on your plate here. You've got enough to do, okay? 4th of October, the moon starts to square your Sun, your Mercury, and your North Node of the moon, all of which are sitting in your 7th house of relationship. Now, the moon shifts into a much more caring, nurturing gear. It's gone from Gemini into Cancer, and it connects with all of these things that are central to you. So it's almost like a narrative here. Not only do you benefit yourself by doing some sort of an inventory and sharing that with another person, you actually become close with that person. So this is a great opportunity to make a lifelong friend. I don't know about you, but I noticed this recently, that I opened up to someone at Christmas. I was having a major problem, and I didn't have anyone to speak to about it. And I spoke to this person who was an acquaintance, but I didn't know very well. And I said, listen, I've got this problem, and it's really an issue for me. And because I opened up, because I chose that person to share my issues with, that became a friendship. And that's the kind of thing I see is very possible for you at the beginning of this month here. Now, on the 5th of October, there's a T-square in your chart, and that's an area of real motivation. It happens between your Pluto and your moon, and it is solved. The solution lies in your Uranus in your 1st house in Aries, okay? You're going to feel a push and pull between work and family. Should I really apply myself to making changes in my working life, or should I build my relationships? Have a think about what you would prefer to do, what you think is going to have the most positive, beneficial impact on your life, and then choose that. The 5th of October is about you. It's not about your grandma or your uncle or your niece. It's about what you think is going to help you the most. You know, the 5th of October 2015 only comes once in your life. Do you want to spend the day doing something that will benefit you, or do you want to do something else? I mean, that's kind of a rhetorical question. Just be kind of focused on what you'd like to do. On the 6th of October, Pluto starts to trine your midheaven. And this is when another wave of change comes into your life, especially in your working life. At the beginning of the month, you were thinking of making some changes. That may have got a little bit diluted with the focus you've got on personal relationships and how those are made better. The wave comes back in now, and you're focused on work. How can I change things? So for you, Aries, you're a great sign to be self-employed anyway, because you're motivated, because you're creative, because you can start things, because you can get things going, you have ideas, you have energy. So if you're really, really dissatisfied in your job, being an employee, or if you're a student and you just don't like what you're doing, or if you're retired and you just, you know, you've been doing what is expected and you're just fed up, then choose again and choose something that is more compatible with your true needs. On the 7th of October, the moon starts to trine Uranus. And that Uranus still sitting in your first house, it's going to be there for a long time. And the moon is in Leo now in your 5th. People are going to see you as quite... This is the day, Aries, when you have the biggest impact so far in October on the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on your orientation. But your sense of self and your sense of non-conforming is really quite appealing to other people. So you've done a lot of you've faced some difficulties in this first week of October. You've come a long way, and it's about putting that out there, and other people will be attracted to you. Now, on the 9th of October, Venus moves into Virgo, and that was in Leo until now. And Venus goes into your 6th house. So the true love of your life at the moment around this time of the year, the 9th of October, is work. What am I going to be doing for work? How can I make this better? How can I apply myself to change it? Oh, on this day as well, the other good thing here is that Mercury comes out of retrograde. Mercury is the communication planet of exchanging ideas, and that has been in retrograde since the 17th of September. I didn't want to mention it too much because it's usually, you have to work harder to get your messages across, okay? It comes out of the retrograde today, it goes direct, communication becomes easier, and you don't have to find different ways of doing things. And it makes sense because that inventory, the soul searching you did at the beginning of the month, that's very unlike you. And you had to do that because you had to look at things in a different way. So, on the 10th of October, Venus starts to sesqui square Uranus, and that continues until the 14th of October. So, you have very, very, very specific tastes, very unique ideas, and don't expect other people to understand these ideas for the next 4 days. It may be that you go a little bit potty over the next 4 days. That, you know, if you're a 60-year-old man and you've always liked, you know, model railways or whatever, and people have just said, oh my God, what a weirdo, then that love that you've tried to suppress will come up again. So don't, you know, who cares? If you love it and it doesn't harm anybody, then why not own it, okay? So this month so far is all about you getting real with yourself and not being repressed and pushed down by other people. And especially around the 10th to the 14th, let yourself free, let it go, love what it is you want to love, who cares? 11th of October, there's another T-square, and that's between the Sun and Venus. The Sun, is it the Sun and Venus? No, it's Venus and Neptune, and it exits with Pluto. And this creates a lot of energy in terms of your spirituality and what it is you love, and yeah, the frameworks you've been again. So it's time to choose for yourself, time to think for yourself, and to ask yourself the question, what is it that I love? So that's within that framework of the 10th to 14th that I've mentioned anyway. Now, on the 13th of October, there's a new moon. The new moon is always a fresh start, pouring energy into something, and it's in Libra in your 7th house. The focus now is on relationships and how can you build and nurture relationships that fit this new you. You've become much more clear on who you are, your identity has blossomed and flowered, and now it's about bringing like-minded people into your life. So if you do, if you are that 60-year-old guy with the trains, then join a train club. Get out there and meet some other people. And Jupiter has also been squaring Neptune from the 16th of August, and that, not squaring, opposing, I should say rather, has been opposing, which means they're totally opposite each other, 180 degrees, from the 16th of August, and it stops today. Jupiter is the lucky planet, Neptune is the dream. So the dreams have been big, okay? I can have my own business, I can be the guy in charge, I can be the number one. You really dreamt that starts to abate a little bit, so you start to get a little bit less grandiose. There's nothing wrong with grandiose. If you want to start your own thing, if you want to start your own business, sometimes you have to dream big and you have to big yourself up. So if you're if you're having fresh starts, new beginnings, then try and get those sorted out before the 13th of October, because you start to deflate a little bit. On the 17th, the moon starts to trine Uranus, and you feel very, very comfortable learning something new today. So you're very teachable on the 17th. Use this to improve your skills, to make yourself, to inform yourself. I think it will, something that you learn today on the 17th will really inform this new identity that you have and really get you moving forward. The next day, the moon then starts to square the North Node and your midheaven in your in your 6th and 7th houses, and this is about work again, okay? So yeah, your vision clears, you really start to understand what you're trying to do in your working life, and if you're someone who works in a call center and you have very limited kind of options in your job, you start to think outside of that framework and you choose again. You choose your own kind of career, you become very, very certain of what your potential is and what you could be doing. The 19th and 20th see the moon and Pluto connect, and they form a relationship with Jupiter, which is in your 6th house, okay? So, I mean, it's starting to repeat itself, which is good, because, you're not all over the place, and you have a strong focus, but the real strong focus is building a new career for yourself and expanding your life so that you can actually enjoy it. And all of the planets are lining up to really facilitate that and to make it a reality for you. From the 23rd of October through until the 6th of November, the Neptune starts to trine the Sun. Neptune is the dream planet, the planet of the unseen, the unmanifest. And whenever it connects with the Sun, you open a door into the other realm, okay? So you become incredibly psychic from the 23rd onwards through until the 6th of November. And that's good because, it's the build up to Halloween anyway. The veil becomes thinner. So along with the veil becoming thinner, your intuitive kind of psychic ability really skyrockets, and you're really able to get a lot more messages through. Listen to those messages, they're very important, and your guides will be bringing you information that you can work with. On the 25th, the moon starts to square your ascendant, and you feel very, 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 very much like yourself. And this is a time when you can really just relax into you and really trust your own judgment. This month has been like a crystallization of who you are. Like if you think of a kaleidoscope, when you squish it round, it forms a whole different picture and you see yourself in a completely different light. The full moon occurs on the 27th, and that's in Taurus, in your 2nd house. Expect money to come in, okay? Taurus is very materialistic. The 2nd house is the house of finance and money and things, and the full moon is a blossoming. Expect either money or for some project to make things look nicer to be approved. We're going to renovate the house. I'm going to design my own clothes. You finish the dress that you've been working on. Something like that. There's a culmination of something tangible and practical. The other thing about this month, which is beautiful, is that the new moon is in Libra and the full moon is in Taurus. Both of those are ruled by Venus. Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. Last month in September, poor old Venus was in retrograde, and it made connections with other people and new businesses and all of that stuff really, really difficult. And now it's the opposite of that. Money, new businesses, love, all of those things are really, really A plus, A star, gold star, really work very well. And for you specifically, Aries, you can see it as some sort of financial windfall. On the 28th, there's a grand trine in Earth, and that's an area of real talent, and that money comes from your work. It's not through some insurance claim or winning the lottery or something like that. It's through your endeavors that you've made in your working life. You know, before, earlier in the month, you were kind of rebelling and you're saying, oh, you know, I want to do something for myself. It may be that you started your own business on the side. If you have, you'll start to see some money coming from that. And then finally, Halloween. The veil is super, super thin anyway, but on this Halloween in particular, there's a grand trine in water, and a grand trine is an area of real talent. Water is the unmanifest, the psychic, the other side, and it's between the moon, Neptune, and the moon, okay? So this is really a time when people, a lot of people are going to get a lot of messages through, and the majority of people are going to be highly intuitive. So you'll hear lots of stories about people having weird experiences. You might notice that a lot of people have started cults, or, you know, a lot of paranormal phenomenon is going on, and that there's a lot of kind of spookiness in the atmosphere. Some people will take that as, you know, it's just the season. But if you're that way inclined anyway, and you work on your spirituality and you try and listen to the guidance from your guides and your angels, not just on Halloween, but like between the end of October through until the 6th of November is a great time to do that kind of work, because the messages will come through loud and clear. So that's October for you. I hope you found that useful. If you'd like a private reading with me, please visit my website. It's gregoryscott.com. We can have a look at your chart in particular, what your life purpose is, what business you should start, all of that stuff. So have a look at the readings tab on that page. You'll see the types of readings that I offer. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and you can also find me on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Gregory Scott 444. Have a fantastic October, and I'll speak to you tomorrow, literally, for the daily tarot readings, and next month for these monthly astrology forecasts. So have a great month, and I'll speak to you soon.